This episode of the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report is brought to you by Draeger Rental and Safety Services, your trusted source for industrial safety services and technology. We'll share more about Draeger later in the episode. Welcome to the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report, your go-to source for the latest updates in the energy sector. I'm Samantha, your AI podcast host, and today is September 6th, 2024. In today's episode, Exxon and ADNOC partner on a Texas hydrogen project. Venture Global seeks to unload the first LNG cargo at their Louisiana plant, and other top news from the energy sector this week. But before we get started, we ask that if you enjoy our podcast, please like, comment, and share it with your colleagues. Your support helps us grow and allows us to bring you even more exciting updates from the energy sector in the future. ExxonMobil is back in the news as Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, also known as ADNOC, has agreed to acquire a 35% equity stake in the company's proposed low-carbon hydrogen project in Baytown, Texas. Initially planned as the world's largest low-carbon hydrogen facility, ExxonMobil has revised its production goals to 900,000 tons of low-carbon hydrogen annually, along with over 1 million tons of low-carbon ammonia. However, the project's startup has been pushed to 2029. ADNOC's investment signals confidence in the multi-billion-dollar project, but its future depends on U.S. government tax incentives, and a final investment decision is now expected in 2025. Next up, Venture Global LNG is moving closer to operational status at its Plaquemines export plant in Louisiana. The company has requested authorization to unload its first commissioning cargo, which arrived on the LNG tanker Kogir from Norway. This supercooled fuel will be used to test and cool down equipment as part of the plant's startup process. Plaquemines, which has been under construction, is a key $21 billion project, with expectations to bring its first phase online between 2024 and 2026. Venture Global has already started pulling in small amounts of natural gas, setting the stage for initial production tests soon. We'll move on to our next story as Edgewater Midstream LLC, backed by NCAP Flatrock Midstream, is set to acquire Shell's Sinco pipeline system and the Colex East and West terminals in the Houston refining corridor. These assets, which include pipelines connecting the Deer Park refinery complex and 3 million barrels of storage capacity, will bolster Edgewater's position along the Gulf Coast. The terminals also provide direct access to the Colonial and Explorer pipelines, critical links for refined products to Midwest markets. The transaction is expected to close in the fourth quarter of 2024, pending regulatory approvals. Before we move on to our next story, a quick word from our sponsor. This episode of the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report is brought to you by Draeger Rental and Safety Services. From daily operations to large turnaround and shutdown projects, partner with Draeger for smart technical solutions that protects, supports, and saves lives. To learn more, visit www.draeger.com. For our next story, Port Houston has officially welcomed Charlie Jenkins as its new Chief Executive Officer, succeeding longtime Executive Director Roger Guenther, who retired on August 28th. Jenkins, who has been with Port Houston for more than 30 years, most recently served as Chief Channel Infrastructure Officer. His career at the port began as its first intern, and over the decades, he has played key roles in container operations, strategic planning, and the Houston Ship Channel Expansion Project, known as Project 11. Jenkins's deep experience promises to guide Port Houston through its next chapter of growth and development. Finally, we'll close today's show out with another huge acquisition, as Voyager Midstream Holdings, a portfolio company of Pearl Energy Investments, has expanded its presence in the Haynesville Shale with the acquisition of key natural gas gathering and processing assets from Phillips 66. These assets, located across Texas and Louisiana, include 550 miles of natural gas pipelines, 400 million cubic feet per day of gas processing capacity, and the Carthage Hub, which provides critical interconnectivity to U.S. markets. With this acquisition, Voyager is well-positioned for growth, enhancing producer connectivity in the region, and accessing premium LNG markets in Texas and Louisiana. And with that, we come to a close on this week's episode of the BIC Magazine Weekly Industry Report. You can head over to bicmagazine.com to read the full stories discussed today, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media channels so that you never miss out on the latest developments, updates, and announcements from the energy sector. Have a great day, and remember, it's what we do together that counts. Thank you again to Draeger Rental and Safety Services for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure to visit www.draeger.com to learn more about Draeger's smart safety solutions for your facility. When safety matters, rely on Draeger, technology for life.